No green screen in this one because it's too dark outside and I can't get the lighting right. This is going to seem like a little bit of a strange video, but I've been thinking about this ever since about 300-ish corruption. Everything just one or two shots you. The drops are not really much better at 400 than they were at 300. So I think like within the 300 to 400 range is really where the devs want you to be. All the builds past that I think are overperforming. I think that's the term they use. Essentially at this point I could get increased health regeneration on this. So I could get like a slightly better armor, and then I could get my helmet without this wasted stat on there, the increased critical strike per equipped dagger. Other than that, all my gear is pretty much perfect. I'm just literally killing time to do this just for bragging rights, just to say that I did it. I don't necessarily get anything new or have anything to attain. It just feels like a massive time dump, and then I'm getting killed by characters off screen and stuff like that. I feel like the further into corruption that I push, the more that the issues with the game, like little things like enemy animations where the enemy's in a freaking T-pose but it's attacking you, doing damage, but there's no like missile visible on the screen that's hitting you, or enemies killing you from off screen, enemies spawning on top of you and one or two shotting you, various things even with 2,000 or 3,000 health. So it feels like this is just like a war of attrition at this point, just for the sake of possibly getting one piece of better gear. My character's not going to effectively perform any different. You know, I could get up to 3,000 health, blah blah blah, but at the end of the day, I think I've reached the end of this character. Honestly, like as much as I would like to keep playing this character and be like, oh, I hit 1,000 corruption, I feel like that's wasting my free time at that point. I don't feel like there's enough demand. Like corruption is not, except for like some maybe ARPG snobs on the internet who are gonna talk about they're better than somebody because they wasted more of their life doing a repetitive task. I feel like I'm better off moving on to a new character, not to be negative or anything. But I saw a video as well the other day that was talking about why corruption is baiting people, and he's basically talking about how when you have 300 corruption you're getting the same drops as if you had 1,500 corruption, so it doesn't really matter. It's about the clear speed, it's about just being able to get through the level safely, not dying 3 times before you finish the one node. That has happened to me here and there. Usually I'm still getting through the levels easy, and then it's a matter of, do I kill Oribus, do I like cheese him down, or does he hit me with some one-shot mechanic or something? So Oribus is really the only thing that feels dangerous aside from getting hit by stupid shit, which that's what I would call it. I would call it stupid shit. If you saw Wuda Joe, if you saw the way he died on hardcore to an exiled mage whose beam hadn't even hit him because of latency, that's another reason to not play online, in my opinion. I don't feel like there's enough incentive for me to play online versus offline when there's like already bugs in the game, like God Hunter Argentus or whatever his name going invisible in the middle of the boss fight. I would be furious if that happened to me during hardcore. All in all, I really love this game, and I'm gonna like look at all these stash tabs of items that I've got for potential future characters and stuff. With that said, I now have 2 level 100s. I have the Mage level 100 and the Falconer level 100, and I do feel like the game is going to need more endgame at some point, but I feel like the major strong point of the game is the amount of build diversity, the amount of creativity and player constitution that you have while you're making your character and while you're going through the level up process. Like after you hit 100, there's not honestly that much more power that you can gain. Min-max your gear and everything. You can improve your character, improve your skill trees and everything past that point to push. But past the 300-ish corruption, past 320 is where the developer said certain blessings on the timeline that were locked get unlocked. So that makes me wonder also, are there certain blessings, like if you needed like crit strike multiplier and you start your character, do you just get unlucky and crit strike multiplier happens to be the one that you have to unlock at 320? If somebody knows that, let me know. I think that's something that could almost... luckily, none of these things I think are anything that could brick a build. Like, it would kind of suck, I think, if you couldn't get the all res from Reign of Dragons until 320 corruption. But I honestly didn't start feeling like this feeling of apathy almost, or this feeling of like there's nothing more to strive for until like around 400 something corruption, like 450 or whatever I'm at right now. I didn't start feeling this kind of way until now, and I'm like, do I keep pushing the character to get to 1,000 corruption just to say that I did something that people already did a month ago? And honestly, it's gonna cut into my free time, it's gonna cut into my content creation, it's gonna make me more redundant. I've already posted 3 videos involving the Falconer on my channel, and they're getting less and less views each time. not that that's really what should drive anything. What's driving this decision is that, you know, the gameplay is not going to change. I'm going to be doing the same skill rotations over and over and over again, and I think I need to switch characters. That's my main thing. I think it's getting stale, and it shows me how they're going to have to add more endgame. But right now, I think the best thing about the game is just making new characters. I really had a blast the first playthrough. Then I had even more of a blast the second playthrough when I decided to make the Falconer. I heard that the Falconer was just so overpowered, you basically can't get it wrong. You can't mess it up. So that's what I basically went for. I decided to just play it by ear until I hit a wall, essentially. And then I decided to read some build guides, watch some YouTube videos. And then even then, I tried to give it my own personal twist. Which is funny because eventually you wind up kind of coming back down and realizing, oh, these results from this meta stuff is really, you know, hundreds or thousands of different people who have tested it. Me as one person simply can't collect enough data to understand the game at that level. So I might as well look at the build guide if I want the best results. But I feel like if I did that from the very start, it would have taken away from the exploration and the fun and the intrigue and everything like that. So I think I'm going to make another character at this point because it'll be better for the content. It'll be better for me as well. It'll be more enjoyable to play. Like, I don't need to chase this arbitrary stat just because in the back of my mind, part of me wanted to do it because I thought, oh, it'll make me more credible in the Last Epoch sphere on YouTube. Man, people are gonna care or they're not, and it has nothing to do with me, and I have no control over that. And that's not me being a quitter, not wanting to push to 1,000 corruption. That's like just like certain things on Diablo 4 that feel like a waste of my time. I'm not gonna continue doing something if it's not giving me the results that I desire. So yeah, that was kind of a big rant about why I think monoliths are cool and great, but eventually kind of become boring. Let me know what your thoughts are on this and everything. Maybe you feel differently. Maybe I would feel differently if I was like streaming all the time and making a full-time living simply off playing the game. Then maybe I'd have more enjoyment, like continuing to challenge myself and push myself for essentially no reward further than what I've already gotten. Plus, even like this helmet, I could get the helmet that I need with like vitality or with life on it instead of the crit strike chance per equipped dagger. I could get that from a corruption 100 timeline. Like, I think I even got the helmet during the playthrough before I even hit level 100. So maybe even before corrupted timelines. So anyways, this has been a bit of a rant. Hopefully YouTube doesn't cuck me because I've just been standing in town talking for a whole video. I think all of my personal thoughts aside, all of this shows me the game simply needs more endgame. That said, It's going to just be something that comes out over time. I feel like the monoliths are great. I never really got into the arenas. Maybe I should spend some more time checking those out. But essentially, the monoliths, I think what it is they get kind of old once you're done building your character. Once you have all the gear that you want, essentially. Of course, I could get better health, like hybrid health and certain stats on this character and make it a little bit more tanky. I could get all my reses capped out fully. At the end of the day, effectively, the character's going to play the same. I think I'm trying to say I'm seeking new experiences, so that's why I feel like the most fun in Last Epoch is throughout the theory crafting and building your character, leveling up the process. Because once you hit 100, once you have all your gear, you don't really feel like there's much left to chase for unless you're chasing for, personal goals or whatever. Me as a content creator striving to grow my channel and continue to improve in everything, I simply don't want to chase a 1% upgrade.